Hello and welcome to the Misty Blue Days of Our Lives podcast. I'm your host, Misty Blue from MistyBlueDream.com, and I'm here to talk about a little bit of everything. Thanks for tuning in. As a legal disclaimer, nothing said here on this podcast should be used in place of medical or professional advice, as the intent of content is to share personal information, opinions, and thoughts, except for today, because technically we are professionals.
Yes.
This is episode number 2. I'm here with Joy, and we are going to be discussing basically things in the beauty industry, a little bit of everything. So if you want to go ahead and start introducing yourself, Joy.
Okay, well, my name is Joy McGregor. I am a professional makeup artist. I have been doing it for about 10 years. I have a studio in Cape Canaveral, and it is called Joyous Skincare Plus Beauty. You can find me on Facebook. And I do anything from facials and scrubs and peels, and then the makeup artistry part of it. I do weddings and photography shoots, video, anything from professional, promotional type of material. I work for a lot of different companies doing makeup and other stuff, and I love it. It's what I love. I love doing it.
And that was my cat knocking stuff over. So the great thing about this podcast is we're very genuine, and we might cuss a little bit. My cat might meow. Who knows? Another thing I want to add about Joy is that she also has a background in dental hygiene, which is really cool. And I'm going to have her do another show just on that. But if you want to give a little talk about that too, because you do teeth whitening as well.
Yes, I do teeth whitening in my studio. It is $99. It's what my promotional is going on right now. It's 1 hour, 3 20-minute sessions. It's an amazing treatment, something to really indulge in and just pamper yourself and get that nice white smile that maybe you had years ago and now you want it back. And I can do that for you.
So one of the first things we want to talk about too is we're going to start out with things about the industry. We've both been in the industry for many years. I'm a licensed cosmetology. I think it's been almost 10 years. I started in 2004, and then I kind of went back and, actually finished in 2009 or so. So it's, almost been about 10 years now with that. And so one of the things we see, because we do a lot of weddings together, I'll do hair, she does makeup, kind of slay it. We've got like a really good team vibe thing going on. And so
just a connection.
Yeah. We've done it for many years, so many weddings, so it's like a really nice flow. But we see a lot of competition out there, which is great. And
competition is good.
Yeah. We're all about, in fact, we both work with other artists sometimes, and my cat's eating right now, so sorry about that if you can hear the crunching. But anyway, so we love to support other people in our industry, in our community. However,
clapping back at you.
Yes.
You know who you are.
However, this is the big issue, and part of what kind of inspired this podcast too, is that we see a lot of people who are not licensed.
Not licensed.
At all.
At all.
So why don't we go ahead and talk about, what it takes to be licensed. I'll start with me, to be a cosmetologist, it's 1,200 hours in the state of Florida. You have to go through that whole program, and then you have to take a state board test. You have to pass it, and then you can be legal. And there's a lot of guidelines that you have to go through, which we'll discuss that too. And then of course every 2 years you have continued education.
Yes, and with doing makeup artistry, the thing about makeup artistry in the state of Florida is that it is not a licensed or observed profession. It's actually, when you are a cosmetologist or an esthetician like me, I went to school for, it was a 3-month program. I took my state boards just like Misti did, and I have to do the exact same thing. I have to take my continuing ed, 16 hours of continuing ed and a test every 2 years.
With the HIV course.
Yes.
As well.
And cross-contamination and all that stuff. All that education goes behind what I do. Well, makeup artistry is a specialty of what is either esthetician for me, cosmetologist for her. That's a specialty. You can go to Joe Blasco and get that awesome training, but that's like additional training. You can also go to the Makeup Institute. Again, additional training after you get your license, because there's no license to do makeup.
Yeah, so what is your license technically?
My license, I am an esthetician, and I am certified through multiple companies and the Makeup Institute as a makeup artist. So that was several more hours and weeks of training.
And this costs a lot of money.
Yes, yes it does.
So it's not only that we're putting in the time and the money, but we also, you know, there's really important key factors that are included in this, which let's go ahead and talk about it. It's sanitation.
Sanitation, I have to say, is the biggest thing. I mean, I've booked weddings before where an entire bridal party will book me. And then the bride will have like a cousin who does really good personal self makeup, which, hey, that is amazing. Not a lot of people can do that. So
YouTube is awesome.
YouTube is awesome. YouTube University is amazing, and I love it, and I can't hate on it. But at the end of the day, when, you know, your cousin comes in and they have their personal makeup, yeah, and they're putting their personal makeup on you, there's just certain cringeworthy moments, because everything I buy for my pro kit is for my pro kit.
Yeah, so she doesn't pull out a mascara wand and use that on a client and then dip it back in and use it on the next.
It's called double dipping.
Yeah, you're contaminating everything. Same thing with lips. I mean, you can give people a sty, you can give people a pink eye, any type of eye infection, and herpes as well. I mean, there's a lot of things, you know, and just think about the bacteria and stuff. So, I mean, the bloodborne pathogen, that's a class that we have to go over, you know, as far as like education goes. There's a reason there's a license. You know, they don't just, you know, make you get a license just for shits and giggles. They make you get a license because, you know, there's a lot of things, you know, go behind that. Like even just thinking with hair, for example, it's 1,200 hours. I mean, I could be wrong, but last I knew, to become a police officer, I think it was 1,000 hours. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into the training. It's not like we're just learning how to tease hair. Like we're working with chemicals. And I think you work with chemicals sometimes too. Electricity, that's one of the classes we take, because we were going over, you know, wattage and volts, and we learn the anatomy. We learn about different diseases. So she's gone over different, you know, skin diseases that she had to learn.
Yeah. And know how to treat. There are certain things that people have, skin conditions that they have, that maybe, you know, said cousin who is amazing at doing makeup may worsen that condition that that person has. And, you know, I have a very large, extensive professional makeup kit to where I can pull and pick things that will help the skin, not harm the skin.
Right.
And so I've seen non-professional makeup artists. I've seen them take plates from the hotel room and use them as palettes. And I have seen them not clean their brushes.
I've seen them use a sponge on the same, on the same person, like those little egg sponge that will pull for a second.
The blender balls,
and go and use that, you know, and they would rinse it off. I'm sorry, it's a sponge.
Yeah.
And they would they wouldn't even clean it all, and they just use it on the same people. I mean, you have to go home, and I know you have a sanitation
I have a routine
that you do. You have special like brush kit where all your brushes get loaded, so how you clean them, and products to clean and sanitize your brushes.
Because I would rather ruin a brush by cleaning it with like medical grade alcohol and all that stuff than to, you know, give my client an infection, or, you know, give them, because your skin produces sebaceous oil, and that sebaceous oil falls into your brush. That brush holds any kind of bacteria because it's an oil and it's got bacteria in it already. So depending on that person, I mean, some people have more yeast in it than others. So, you know, when you leave it in there and then you cross-contaminate and you don't clean your brush fully, because of starting out, even a self-taught makeup artist that may not have gone to school, I mean, it took me, I don't know, at least a year and a half, 2 years after being a complete professional to have multiple sets of brushes. And I still have my favorites. You know, like I'm like, oh, I can have like 5 sets of brushes. And you should have a lot of brushes if you're going to do makeup, because you're going to have that many people when you're doing a whole party. But at the, you know, at the end of the day, it's just, it's dangerous to do that and not be properly trained.
Yeah. And so, you know, a lot of people will look for artists and they'll see their price and like, oh, this is affordable, maybe more affordable than somebody else, so we're going to go ahead and choose that artist because we're trying to save a buck. You know, but there are questions to ask. So if you are going to do that and you're picking someone, maybe they have good work and they have low prices, why don't you ask why those prices are low? Not like literally like, hey, why prices so low, but ask, you know, ask them if they're licensed. Look them up, see, you know, who, ask all of those questions, because those are really important, because, you know, yeah, you might look great on your wedding day, but you're gonna have a sty in your eye for your honeymoon.
You possibly could. I mean, you never know what these particular individuals know. And there's also a fine line with people that are, you know, selling products like multi-level marketing, which can be great. And I partake in some of those. Like, I love me some Lulu, no shame in my game. But also too, I know years ago I sold Avon. I have friends that sold Mary Kay. These people that are selling the makeup, in their fine print, it says that you are not supposed to apply the makeup to sell the product. You teach the client how to use the makeup for them. Yeah. So that, because, you know, that's like a loophole. I feel like a lot of artists will take, they'll go ahead and sign up with a company like that so that they can say, oh, well, I'm selling it, and they use that as a loophole. Right. But at the end of the day, multi-level marketing, they have the same basic business model. Don't get sued. Right. So there's nothing protecting that artist, because I've had friends that worked at Lancome that were licensed estheticians, and they didn't want them telling them that they were licensed, because that puts them at risk to giving advice on a different level than what the company actually hired them for. It's supposed to be that you're teaching them how to use that pretty pink blush that they're trying to sell, you know, and how it might complement their skin. And it's not to be taken advantage of and used as a loophole and morphed to be used so that way you can make a profit of it and create this business that's unprofessional and not licensed, where you could be contaminating things. And let's just, you know, even if, say this person, you know, say that's not the issue, like we're not talking about sanitation anymore, we'll move on to another topic. It's a slap in the face too, because, you know, here we have actually gotten an education and a license and spent money. We go, you know, every year to hair shows, trade shows. We're constantly renewing, you know, doing a 16-hour course of continued education that's required every 2 years and then some. Right. You know, a lot of people, it's like this is their career in their industry. They're not just sitting there, oh, I love makeup so much, I'm watching YouTube in bed all night. That's not how it works. Like we actually go to, you know, professional settings. Well, professionals, we pay to go see professionals that we look up to in our industry to teach us the newest and latest and greatest things that are out on the market. I mean, and for an example, I just came back from beauty supply and I dropped already over $100 today on stuff for my kit, on stuff for my profession. That, you know, again, when I talk about my kit, I talk about this big giant case that I have that has every single skin shade, every single tone type, everything I can do for any kind of skin type, problem, condition, anything, plus a full skincare line in there so I can treat and take care of the skin prior to putting on makeup. And I will tell you, this thing is thousands of dollars that I have put out to make sure that I can give my clients the most professional, beautiful end result that I can. And sometimes, you know, you find an artist that can do it for 75, and you find someone else that's doing it for 35, find out what that difference could be, because that difference could be. Yeah, and experience as well, because, you know, I've also heard from people who, you know, already had their weddings before they had met me and would tell me like horror stories, like, okay, they hired
a team who maybe was professional, but because their prices were low, but they didn't quite have the experience, and that they ran out of time. Like, and this one person I know, they literally were 2 hours late to their own wedding because the team that they had were so slow, and they literally ran out of time, and they weren't even like empathetic about it. They were just like, well, it's your wedding, you can be late for your wedding. That's not how it works. You have caterers paid, you have guests that are sweating in the sun. I mean, I hear horror stories a lot. So, I mean, even if they are, professional and they have a really good deal,
sometimes
just do
time management can suck for some people. Some people don't get that.
Right. Make sure that this is someone who's handled, weddings of your size, that they're professional, that they have a good reputation, that they're licensed, and so I think another good question would be like when, for people who maybe are, getting married or wanting to book someone, like what would you say as far as timeline for when to book a hair and makeup team?
Well, I love when people book me, 6 months in advance. That's I mean, your schedule's always different. You can always have cancellations or whatever, but start looking at around your 6 month mark. And if it's a professional that is really in high demand, then even sooner.
Yeah, I've had people book 2 years in advance before.
I'm already booking out for 2020.
Yeah,
because we're doing them together.
Yeah, so I mean, I have people that will book like a year in advance. 6 months is great. The other thing is we always want to recommend a trial.
Oh, yes.
The trial is great for everybody involved because number one, you are trying to figure out what you want, how you want to look. Some people have this vision and then they do the trial and they're like, wait, no, I want something more glamorous, or maybe I want something more natural. I mean, that's what it is. You're trying it out, but it's also a consultation. It's also you're getting to know your artist, you're meeting them, they're learning about you, they're not going in blind. I mean, I've had people get their hair done and decide like, the month before that they want something totally different, but at least like I got to know their hair type and make recommendations. Like I'll have people that will get a hairstyle and I'll just flat out be like, you know what, you don't have the right hair type for that, or if you do, you need to buy extensions. Or, I've had another bride who wanted to wear her hair up, but she never wears her hair up. So I told her to wear her hair up for a whole week to see how she felt. And then she decided, you're right, I like it down. So, I mean, these are, you can ask questions. I mean, the trials are super important.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they can show me a look that they, from their Pinterest board of all these different looks that they love, and they just may not work for them at all. Or, there's this awesome little thing in photography called Photoshop. It's an amazing, amazing invention. Hard to recreate, a neon glowing lid that has been altered by Photoshop, but I do my best.
Oh yeah, there was one that was popular. Every once in a while it gets shown to me. It's like the super intricate like rose for the hair. It's
yes.
Like, it goes to the side, but it's so...
And the color is perfect on it.
Oh yeah. And I know how to do that and feather it, but like the way this one was, like, this was like an editorial photo shoot that probably took hours, and it probably had like a hair piece that they had worked on for like a week. And
they probably did it at home and clipped it in.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny when, and that's great. And all that's, again, another reason why you want to have a trial, because if you meet them the day of, which we've done and we've nailed it, but it's just always a good advice to get a trial done. So people usually will book that at least 3 months or so out from the wedding.
But also too, we let them know that if they want to come in sooner, closer to their wedding, more towards our weather bracket here in Florida.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, the same weather you're going to do your trial in June isn't going to be the same weather we're going to have in November. So, sometimes it can alter it a little bit.
Which is good, because
which is nice.
Then that's better for us and them. It's when they do a trial in the winter here where there's less humidity, less oily in the skin, and then they're getting married in June. And then it's like, you got a whole,
Yeah, I would much rather have it June, November than like December, beautiful, wonderful weather, or January, cold outside, and their skin has that nice natural matte finish. And then boom, August comes around and it's like, whoa.
Well, Florida's a whole different ballgame. I know people in other states, they're like kind of ass backwards with their seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, like what they have them.
Yeah.
Then we have like hot, really, really hot, then not as hot. And we have, I'm going to wear a sweatshirt for like 3 weeks.
Or 3 hours.
Or 3 hours.
So another good question would be, we're talking money and stuff, like what's included in the price. I mean, in general, like the reason why, a good professional artist, sets their prices where they do, like we said before, I mean, we're licensed. We have to pay money to continue that license. We have to pay a lot of money to keep our kits stocked, fresh. And also, like, I know for me, if I weren't gonna be, one of the things I would say that's important too is that we travel to the bride when it comes to like weddings. So you're not having to come to us and run back to another location. Like, we'll come to you and make it, nice and easy. So a lot of times that's travel time. I mean, even if it's local, going to the beach, 30 minutes, coming back, that's an hour driving.
Right. And even most of the time, we don't, in Brevard County, we don't charge really a horrible fee if we do it all, depending on what our schedule looks like that day.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we provide an experience for the bridal party to where they can, like you said, they can stay where they need to stay. Because I know when I got married, I was going here, there, and everywhere. I mean, it wasn't relaxing at all. It wasn't my special day until 6 o'clock. Get married.
Oh man,
that was when it was special. But other than that, I was running my butt off the whole time.
Yeah, and then as far as travel, usually if it's like outside of Brevard County or more than like a 30-minute drive, we'll throw on a travel fee, and some people get really like weird or upset about that.
Yeah, but they have to think it's our gas, it's our tolls, because we live in an area where if we want to get anywhere quick, if we want to get to Orlando and get there in a normal amount of time, and actually get there, we're going through at least 2 or 3 tolls, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's usually at least $15 in tolls alone. And then you've got gas. But then, of course, like I said, people don't realize like it's our time. So again, if we're going to Orlando, that's an hour drive.
And that means I can't book a facial.
Usually we have to pay for parking too at some places.
Very rarely
parking, tolls, gas. And then you have an hour plus the hour drive back. So technically 2 hours where you're not in the salon. In those 2 hours, you're not in your salon or your studio. You could book probably 2 fations, maybe.
I could do 2 facials. I could do
two teeth whitening.
Teeth whitening.
That's $200. So, that's why people charge for travel. And so, it's almost like just trying to imagine. It's like a respect thing too. It's like I feel like we get a lot of a lot of people give us a hard time with certain things. And I think it's kind of like, well, just maybe imagine if the roles were reversed and people came to you at your job and they wanted you to do all these things that
they wanted you to stay after 5 o'clock for 2 hours just to make sure that their experience
for free off the clock
is where it needs to be. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely. But for the most part, we have been blessed and we've been lucky that, if it's my turd in the punch bowl kind of theory, we don't have that very often. Actually, I don't remember the last time we actually had an issue like that. We're blessed with our clients because we've been around.
We have had some great clients for sure.
Yeah, great party client. They're having a great time. They're fun. And that also, and that's another tip too, that, when you're going into your special day for sure, and we're artists at the end of the day. I know we don't paint pictures or anything like that, but at the end of the day, our skill set is definitely artistry. We're going to make you look the best version of you that you can, so you feel good and you're ready. But we're not going to make you look like someone your fiance is not going to recognize when you're coming down the aisle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, when you go in, the vibe you throw out to an artist is what they pick up. And like, so if you're having, you know, if you're having issues or problems, we definitely try to draw back into the background a little bit if something, if drama is happening, family drama, that does happen sometimes. If someone's late, if, you know, we do draw back into the background because it's like we have to kind of, it sounds weird, protect ourselves so that we can still make the bride look amazing. We just want things to
be smooth. So, you know, basically, if it is a tense, you know, time, you know, like, that's a good example. We kind of draw back
and we just do what we need to do.
If people are kind of quiet and maybe a little nervous, we'll like put some music on.
Yeah.
And have fun, get everyone like amped. So we are kind of like little.
Yeah, we're kind of like facilitators of a good time, trying to pull out, because it benefits us. Because if a bridal party is having a good time and they are in a good spirits, we pick up on that, and then that shows in our work. And
we want everyone to be happy.
Exactly.
No matter what, it's an important day. And I mean, I've done other weddings with people who like weren't you and just somebody else, and they'll sit there and talk about like someone I worked with in the past was talking about like their divorce. I was just like,
it's a wedding, girl. What you doing?
Like, it's not about divorce. Like, it's just
and for other professionals, don't talk bad about other jobs you may have had.
Oh yeah.
And like bad clients in front of your new client. That's never good. Don't do that. Praise away.
Yeah, the focus should be about the bride and the client. It should. And so, anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic? As far as
no.
Okay. All right. So now we're gonna go into like some tips. You've got us here. We're professionals. We're licensed. We're gonna go ahead and give some advice and some tips because, I mean, why not? You've made it this far.
You've made it this far. We're going to give you the cookie at the end of you've done hard work. You've listened to us.
So I would say, like, for me, I'd like to ask what I think would be a good topic for everyone would be like what's a good daily skin routine? Like, you know, I want to have healthy skin for my makeup every day, or maybe say it's leading up to a special day or whatever. Yes. Or maybe you're a dude listening to this and you know you want to know how to clear up your skin, or a teenager, you have kids, whatever. Like what would you say is good daily
routine? I mean, daily routine usually it always starts from within. So always hydrate. Always hydrate. Always drink your water, because that shows up in your skin. If you don't eat right and you don't drink a lot of water, then it will show up in your skin. If you drink too much sodas, it dehydrates you. So, and it shows up in your skin. So always drink your water. I wash my face twice a day, always. And I use it. I just in the morning. Of course, I wash my face in the morning, and I always, and at night. Yes, because I got to take my makeup off. And I don't want to do it too many times, but so in the morning always I just when you sleep and your skin, like you sweat maybe at night, I wash all that off. And I use a product line called Dermaware, which is amazing because it's natural but with science connected to it, because I'm getting older, so therefore there are things that I need to do to make sure that I maintain my
So how do you wash your face? Give us
I always start with a good sensitive cleaner, because I've got sensitive skin. So I always start with a cleanser. Sometimes I use a toner. Once or twice a week, I do scrub. I do a scrub. I don't use any of the apricot scrubs because they are jaggedy microscopically and they can tear at your skin. So I do use, which one am I using now? See, I use so many of them, because I have so many product lines that I like to use.
That's a good example. So the apricot scrub, tell me more about that. Like it tears your skin.
It will, yes, it will.
I know that.
Well, if you look at the scrub under a microscope, it's jaggedy, like some outer planet surface. You wouldn't even think that this is something that you're rubbing on your skin. But you definitely need more like a scrub that has more of the round ball salts to where it actually will roll on your skin.
Yeah.
And
because you get microscopic like abrasions over time that really does add up.
Yes, it does. And so I use a sensitive cleanser twice a week. I do a scrub, and I always make sure that I use a really good moisturizer. I use one that has glycolic acid in it. I use it twice a day. It helps with fine lines and wrinkles. It's from Dermaware. It's called Perfect Fit, and it's fabulous and amazing. And I didn't always use it, but when I started using it, I could tell that it was like, wow, my skin is dewy feeling, and it's plumper, and the visible lines just start to melt away.
And when it comes to products, everyone kind of is going to be a little bit different, but as long as you're using something, it doesn't even necessarily have to be professional, because I like more of the natural stuff, as long as it doesn't have just garbage in it.
Yeah.
You know, people will get like something really cheap, is people go for it smells good. But smells good doesn't always do the right trick. You're going to have stuff that's going to have, you know, create like a waxy residue on your skin.
Sometimes the
irritate you.
Skincare part of like a lesser brand, you know, everything they put in it, all the fillers they put into it, it can create more problems that you may not even notice. I mean, when I was a kid, I could wear Wet n Wild like nobody's business. You know, 99 cents, boom, done, good. Well, you know, I'm older now, and it makes my eyes burn. I mean, it's like, it's burning my skin off. What's going on there? But always a really, I mean, even if you go on the cheap with everything else, always a good, thick, delicious moisturizer. I love it. And
for my moisturizer, I use because I have my product line, Wild Apothecary. So I have a CBD serum, and I kind of use that as my moisturizer because after I wash my face, it keeps everything clean because it does have antiseptic properties. Some of the
I love your serum. It's
and
awesome.
Then the CBD is like anti-inflammatory, and I have combination skin, so it kind of like helps with the dry stuff and keeping it moisturized, but it also keeps it clean so I don't get breakouts. But you know, so like I said, as long as you don't have garbage in there, because some people are going to react differently. Like,
oh yeah, and you may not react today.
Yeah.
But you may react your second bottle that you get.
And a really great website is ewg.org. You can put in all of the ingredients. So if you want to really kind of dissect, you know, why you're putting on your skin,
makes your face itch.
Those ingredients, yeah, it'll tell you if they are allergens, or if, you know, it rates them. It tells you what it is. It does like a really good breakdown. It's the best site for sure. To kind of look, even like hair products, even, you know, cleaning products, you name it. It's a awesome website for any type of ingredient, chemicals.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that website actually. I love it when you can put in anything. How bad is this for my skin? Pretty bad. Or it's wonderful. But then after I clean my skin, every now and then I'll do a mask. Sometimes I do like a peel. But I'm not I always make sure I cleanse and moisturize and protect.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I really make sure that I do all the time. Like those are every day. So I'm cleansing, I'm using my amazing moisturizer, and then after that, I use a tinted sunscreen moisturizer on top of that moisturizer, because my mother told me about sunscreen back in the day when I was like 16, 17 years old. She said, put your moisturizer and always wear sunscreen no matter what. So ever since I've been 18, I've been wearing sunscreen.
And you have
every single day.
You have great skin.
Oh, thank you.
Another question one more question for tips is, when you are washing your face at night to get your makeup off, what is the best way to like remove your makeup? So do you just go straight in there with the cleanser, or do you go in first like with some wipes, or do you use like makeup remover? Like, what's the process
for me personally? What I do, is I am busy, and when I'm done my day, I want to take my shower and I want to relax and get ready. So I wash my face in the shower.
There you go. Okay.
So, and I don't use, I use my hands unless I'm using a scrub. I don't like to use a washcloth. There are some washcloths out on the market that are like touted to, you know, help with your skin, but I don't know. I just, I like to use my hands, and then usually if, and I can tell whenever I've cleaned my face properly, because every day I don't use a full coverage. Like today I'm not wearing a full coverage makeup. I'm wearing a tinted moisturizer and some bronzer and blush and eyeliner and mascara and eyeshadow and
highlighter.
You know, just the use, just the base.
I'm the setting spray.
No setting spray. I don't waste that in the summer on myself. No.
Okay.
Sometimes I do if I'm going out, if I'm wearing a full coverage, which I don't know, I feel better. But I don't wear the full coverage, so when I get into the shower and I've like washed up my face, I know that I'm getting off the daily dirt, like the environmental dirt.
I was just curious how that works, because I know like I do a little bit of everything. I don't have like a certain, but I definitely go in the shower, I put in my hands too, and I kind of like wash everything. And usually there's a little bit of like the raccoon.
And then I go back again, and usually I'll like pop my head out, and I can see the mirror.
You need to get a shower mirror then.
I'm afraid it'll fall off, and then I'll have 7 years bad luck.
True.
I know, right? So I'm like, okay, good, I'm good. Or nope, time to go at it again. And then, you know, you get your eye makeup off. And that's also where I do my scrubs, because if you think about it, you can actually, you know, you have the steam from the shower, you can control the temperature. Yes. So, and I mean, it's not even one of the first things I do. I usually wash my hair, and because I want the steam to like get onto my face.
I would say that's good that you do your hair first and your face last, because sometimes you'll get the conditioner that night. You don't really want conditioner on your skin after you just
So me, now that I've shared all my secrets, washing hair.
Okay.
That's a big thing for me, because I am like a washer hibernator. How many times do you recommend washing your hair in a week?
So I have like a vintage cosmetology book. I think it's like from the 30s or 40s, and they say every 10 days, which is crazy. Nice. So that's not really how it is nowadays. I honestly think it's really just your personal preference, because again, everyone's different. Some people wash their hair every day because they'll get really oily, or their hair's like super fine, and you know, and then some people wash it. I have clients who would come in and they'd wash it once a week. So especially the people with like the vibrant colors and stuff. So washing it however many times a week is really just your preference. Like for me personally, I used to stretch that out as long as I could, just because my hair is like thick, and when it was longer and stuff, like, no, thank you. I will stretch that as long as I can with like dry shampoo.
Oh yeah.
But now I kind of just let it do whatever. I've kind of slacked off, so I'll probably do like every 2 to 3 days. But my thing is, because like if my scalp gets like sweaty, it gets itchy. Like I can't stand the
when I get to that itchy point, I'm like, I guess it's time to wash my hair.
It's got to be washed.
But I get a lot of color. You put a lot of color in my hair, so I want to keep that color as long as I can until my next visit.
So tips for washing or shampooing your hair. Actually in cosmetology school, they train you not to say washing. I say you're cleansing or shampooing. So
it's just like with your tweezing. You don't say pluck in esthetician school, you say tweezing. Yeah.
So tips for shampooing the hair. So first you get in the shower, and then you are going to shampoo your hair. That's like one of the first things I do. I go in the shower, I put my hair under the water, and I get it saturated, and then I'll squeeze out some of the moisture, because your hair is like a sponge. You don't want it like dripping wet, and then you put the shampoo or conditioner on, because it's just gonna roll off of the hair. So you want to kind of squeeze out some of that. And I put the shampoo in my hands first, and then I lather it into my scalp. So you shampoo your scalp. You don't go and put shampoo on your ends. It's going to dry it out, and think about it naturally. It's going to roll off through your hair down into the drain anyway. So it is going to be shampooed regardless. So you don't need to give it that extra. But so shampoo your scalp. You're also stimulating blood flow this way. You're removing any type of residue. And then my advice is if you have really fine hair, you know, then you don't really, one shampoo, you're good to go. But if you've gone several days, then you definitely want to add two shampoos.
Really? Two, you say?
Two shampoos. And I would say probably about half of the people, like, I know that should be shampooing twice, not once. So, because and a lot of people don't think about it just because you think you shampoo and condition, you're done. But if you think about it, if you have a lot of products in your hair, that's one reason to shampoo twice. If you have really thick hair, that's another reason to shampoo twice. You know, so I know some people. Some people I know should shampoo 3 times. I don't think you're a 3, but like there are people where it's like you really just have to do one more to really just get in there, because their hair is so thick that you're not getting all of it. You're not getting all of the scalp, or maybe they just have so much product in that it's just not fully getting off the scalp, or there's so much buildup. So, you know, next time you look at your shampoo bottle, and if you actually read the instructions, a lot of times you'll see lather, rinse, and repeat. So that's why that's there. And so I know for me personally, I was always a shampoo once, condition done. The day I added in that second shampoo, it really was. My hair was totally different, because my hair would still be a little oily and like itchy and just not right the next like after it dried. And I'm like, I just washed my hair, but it's oily and it's not sitting right, or it's just not, you know, something's off about it. It's because I really needed a second shampoo because I was going so long. Now I just usually shampoo once, sometimes twice. I don't always shampoo twice now because I'll go less in between my shampoos. But that's a huge huge difference right there for some people who add in that second shampoo. And then when you go to conditioning, you kind of do the opposite. You don't always, a lot of times people get conditioner and they just put it on top of their head.
I don't do that anymore.
So you want to kind of like break it up in your hands. And I always start and just work it through like the middle to the ends. Like everything in your scalp is, I mean, I'll put a little bit in the scalp because you want your scalp to be nice and healthy and moisturized. But, you know, like after I run it through the middle to the ends and whatever little bit I have on my hands, then I might put some work in my scalp. But the reason for that is the stuff coming out of your scalp is brand new. It's healthy, hydrated, and new. So all of this stuff, all of the stuff like middle to ends, it's older, it's more damaged, it's been worn down. There's hot tools and color, so it's the integrity is not the same. Therefore, you want to condition the middle to the ends more. Plus, if people just go straight to conditioning their scalp, then again, you're going to be a little more oily because it's going to be heavily, overly conditioned in your scalp. So, and then my last piece of advice for that is, you make sure you rinse all of it out. And then my final advice is to rinse your back. A lot of people don't think about it. They rinse the conditioner out and they turn the water off. Ooh. So then you have, this conditioner that like is working its way down still, and a lot of people get back with me because they aren't rinsing the conditioner off their back. So yeah. And then one other thing I would add would be after you shampoo and you put your conditioner in, that's when you can shave your legs and maybe even wash your face or shave your armpits, whatever the heck you do. Because then you're kind of with the steam and the conditioner, you're kind of giving yourself almost like a conditioning treatment. You're like really letting it get in there with the steam. It's going to sit on there for 5 minutes or so. And that'll kind of give it a little extra. And again, you want to squeeze out all that water before you put the conditioner on.
So when you're done with everything, and what is your suggestion about drying?
So drying, and this is actually a good tip if you're a hairstylist listening to this, or anyone really, but the best thing you can do for drying is you get the towel and you want to squeeze the moisture out, almost like you're milking. So you want to kind of squeeze and work, squeeze and work down, because a lot of times people get the towel and they go like this. You're gonna like add tangles, you could add breakage. Your hair is more fragile in that state because when it's wet, it's more elastic.
Okay.
So if you kind of just squeeze it all out that way, then you're not kind of roughing it up. And then, you know, the advice for hairstylists, you know, if you have a salon or if you have a client in your chair and you shampoo them and you got to dry them out, you know, if the more you towel dry them, the less work you have to do. So if you're a client and you're at home and you're getting ready, if you try to towel dry your hair to like 80%, then you like half of your blowout's already done for you. Because a lot of people, they'll kind of, it'll still be dripping a little bit and then they go and they start blow drying and it's like, you've got a lot of work to do, a lot more time. So cut out all that time by just really blotting, you know, with drier pieces of the towel to really get all that moisture out if you are going to dry.
So if you're going to try to attempt an at-home blowout, what kind of product do you use? Because I know that when you give me a blowout, it's good for days. And then when I do a blowout on me, it's like, and my arms get tired.
I haven't mastered blow drying myself. So
on yourself.
Yeah. So it's hard for me to like, number one, it takes practice because like, I don't ever blow dry my own hair. But I mean, if I were to sit there and practice over time, then I'm sure I'd get good at it, but I just don't. But advice, if you were, you know, is to be patient and to keep trying and you'll kind of get your routine. So first, like I said, you want to towel dry your hair, add in some type of blowout product. I use, there's a spray used by, I think it's called Eva NYC or EVA NYC. They have this awesome blowout spray and it makes your hair just really soft.
And it smells delicious.
Yeah.
It smells so good.
So you use some type of a blowout spray or product of some sort, and then you get like maybe a clip or two. So you want to do sections. So you can pull up a section, get a round brush, and then, you know, with the concentrator on the blow dryer, and you just kind of work it through. And there's a way to where you get a panel. I call it like the rule of 5, where you roll the brush, you know, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5. So you kind of like, you're working your way down towards the end, getting it fully dry. And then you go to your next section. And then you add, you know, unclip the hair and add your next section. And then at the end, you do like a finishing product, like a serum. Those are finishing products. A lot of times people will get out of the shower and they'll put on a serum, which can be okay, but just double check. Double check that. Some of them are okay, you know, to use with heat, but some of them aren't. Some of them, if you think about it, you have oil and you turn the oil up on heat, you're gonna fry stuff. So
but also, as an example, I've raised my hand to like all sorts of things that I'm doing wrong, and I am a professional in the industry. I am a makeup artist, esthetician. So again, make sure that your makeup artist that you're hiring, if she's offering to do your hair, make sure she knows what she's doing and that she's licensed to do hair too.
Oh yeah,
because I don't know,
I've seen,
and I never claim to.
I've seen a lot of makeup artists also like adding hair, and I mean, to me, like I said, it's just kind of like, I get it, you need to make some money and stuff, but it's just like, I don't know. It's definitely a controversial topic because, like I said, it's like a slap in the face when it's like, you know, I'm licensed for this, and yet you know, aren't, and you maybe learned on YouTube or you're good at curling your own hair, and sometimes because maybe their stylist kind of gave them advice and taught them how, and then they just go ahead and use that and take clients for half the price because, you know, they want to make money. You know, there's just, it is what it is. This is the industry. It can be cutthroat sometimes, but it's more of a respect thing, I think.
Yeah. Well, giving the best to your client too, because you want to give the best. And I like to focus on what I feel like is my strong suit, and that is the skin portion of the whole deal. Not even going, oh, because I get asked, do you do hair? No, I have a great girl though. She's awesome, and we'll do it together.
Yeah.
And they're excited and we'll get booked. But, you know, I mean, I get it. But again, there's a lot of tips. And you are my hairdresser. You do my hair. She does my hair. She has for like 5 years. So, you know, she does my hair. So I couldn't recreate anything that she does because I don't pay attention.
Well,
she's doing, I'm like, talking and chatting.
Another thing too, another piece of advice for skin and hair really is, like you had mentioned before, like staying hydrated, drinking water. Your health really is going to also kind of show on the outside in your hair and skin.
It does.
And so, you know, like a lot of people will ask me like magic, voodoo, the ways to, like, you know, make hair grow, repair. And I know there was a shampoo, you know, not too long ago that came out that claimed that it had hair growth, which is now under some lawsuits because that wasn't the case. However, really at the end of the day, if you are having breakage or loss that's not from chemicals or hot tools, then see a doctor, get your thyroid tested, check for vitamin D deficiencies, vitamin B levels. Those are things that can cause hair loss. If you have deficiencies and thyroid issues, and then that's definitely a huge sign.
Right. And also too, when you had asked earlier about skincare for people who have acne, cystic acne, anything like that, that could be in a range of all sorts of things, from hormonal to environmental. And again, you know, if you feel like you're doing everything that you're doing and you're doing it right, again, you know, talk with your doctor, find out, maybe go to a dermatologist. You could have an infection on the surface of your skin. You could have something internal that could be taken care of by an antibiotic that a dermatologist would know what to do. And I have clients ask me all the time, they're like, oh my God, what is this? And I'm like, looking at it, well, you know what? Looks abnormal. You should definitely go and check it out. Because even as a professional, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dermatologist.
But we know, like, when you see something,
we can see red flags.
And, you know, I definitely have people go see doctors after my appointment. But anyway, oh, here's my husband. We're doing a podcast.
Hi.
See, I told you, this is how things go. You just roll with it.
We just keep on.
My cat likes to meow at him. You'll hear him talk.
Yes, he does.
But we're gonna wrap things up. But we wanted to just throw in there. Definitely, health is super important. If you got things going on, you know, definitely see a doctor, because there is no magic, you know, cure conditioner.
Yeah.
Or, you know, that's
or
all
skincare. I mean, I get asked, like, oh my God, I want my skin to look like yours. I'm like, well, let me hop on my DeLorean.
Well,
and we will go back. Like, you know, of course, like your lineage, of course. But, you know, there are certain things that I don't do, lifestyle choices I either let go and don't do anymore because, you know, it aged me or whatever, you know. So there are things that I do that, you know.
And acne too. I've had people ask me advice for acne because, you know, the dermatologist, you know, things aren't working out. That's something sometimes I think from within. Like, if you're treating acne on the outside, you know, you're just managing what's already happened and trying to get that already existing inflammation down, or wounds basically under control. You're not treating from within always. So, like, you know, sometimes it could be a dairy or gluten sensitivity that can cause that. So it's really just some investigating that.
And a lot of times too, like if you have a breakout and you go, make sure that your esthetician too, that if you go and get a facial, you know, make sure that your esthetician too knows how to handle your skin. Because like my mother-in-law is an amazing esthetician. She's like a wizard. So,
yeah,
you know,
when you did my facial, you know, you customized it for me because I have sensitive skin and used more natural stuff on me, and it was great. So, you know, that's always something to have, like, during a consultation, you know, because some people just go in, they're like, just whatever.
Yeah, well, you know, we do in skincare, we like to map out your face and figure out where and what you're going to need and where you're going to need it and all that kind of stuff. And there's just certain things, you know, that we do. Yeah. It's the magic of it all.
Well, thank you for tuning in and listening to Joy and I. So tell everyone about us and share this.
Yes, and we may do this again. If you guys like what you saw, then maybe we'll do another episode, and it'll be different topics that you guys want us to touch on.
Yeah, we can do more advice
for sure,
tips, and I definitely want you to do another one about, like, dental hygiene too. I think that's an important one.
Oh, it's very important to everyone and everyone around everyone.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yay.
And subscribe.